Hey everybody, it's Allie Hanley with First Chapters. And today's book is a sequel to a book I read about a year or two ago. I'm not sure, I just remember I did read it. This is the sequel to the final six, and this one is called The Life Below, and it was sent to me by the publicist for HarperCollins for the writer Alexandra Monir. And she's got a ton of praise from her first book that she wrote in this series, The Final Six, to this one, The Life Below. And The Life Below has a prologue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the prologue because this is First Chapters, of course. And we're going to get right to it and see if it grips us and if we like it. 6 weeks earlier, Chapter 1, entitled Leo. When she left, it was like the sun slipped from the universe. I watched the earth turn dark, cold, and bleak, right in front of me on live TV. I thought I knew my way around loneliness, how to swallow the sting, push away memories, ignore the silence, but nothing prepares you for this. Watching a spacecraft launch into the sky with the person you love inside. The live feed on screen holds me captive, showing the final six strapped into their launch seats, their bodies now shuddering with the second engine burn. Naomi reaches out a gloved hand, and though Sydney Pearl is the one to grasp it, I know who she really is reaching for. Outside the ship's window, I can see the colors begin to change. The pale blue sky is receding, taking its final bow. And then, quick as a breath, blue turns to black. The stuffed ladybug hanging from the ceiling, NASA's lucky talisman, starts to float. The final six are officially in space. The newscasters narrating every step of the journey erupt in applause, losing their serious voices as they shriek and cheer. I wish I could share in their joy, but the closest I come to relief is followed by another wave of longing. The same desperate pull that brought me here to Vienna, where I'm now standing beside a silver-haired tech mogul who calmly says, "Glad to see that went off without a hitch," before returning to her desk. The sound of Dr. Wagner's voice brings me back to the moment, the reason I'm here, my second chance. "How soon can we launch?" I call after her, my eyes still glued on the TV. "No later than next week. We need to make sure you depart while Mars is orbiting 44 degrees ahead of Earth's rotation in order for our spacecraft to arrive at the correct time and position to dock with the Pontus. Still, we're already in the midst of this target alignment window now. I'm afraid we don't have much of a time allowance if you're going to catch up to the final six." I turn to face Dr. Greta Wagner, the scientist, inventor, and billionaire, handing me my last hope. We're in the middle of a conference room in the Wagner Enterprises compound, a modernist palace of slate and steel with the exterior walls rising high to keep out prying eyes. While Greta flips through a massive mission binder spread across the conference table, an assistant hovers over her shoulder, tapping away at a blinking tablet. Meanwhile, the humanoid robot she introduced as her butler, Corion, rolls in and out, delivering messages and replenishing Dr. Wagner's never-ending cups of black coffee. We're 2 days into my stay, and still none of this feels real. I'm drinking coffee too, just like the character. Okay, back to the book. "I know it's a tall order, expecting you to be ready this quickly," Greta continues, "but once you reach orbit, the ship will fly itself on autopilot right up until you attempt docking with the Pontus at Mars. I've designed the Wagner 1 and your mission itself to be as user-friendly and foolproof as possible. I've also called in some reinforcements to help with your training. We may only have a week together, but it will be a week of monumental growth and preparation." She pauses. "It has to be." "Right." I nod, trying to block out the creeping thoughts of how utterly alone I'll be up there. I'll be skating the line between life and death the entire time. But no matter how daunting this is what I wanted. It's what I asked for. Before we begin, she slides a sheaf of papers across the table toward me. I need you to sign this. Take your time reading it, though. I had it printed in both English and Italian. I glanced down at the top page where the words jump out at me in bold black ink. I, Leonardo Danelli, being of sound mind, free will, and legal age, hereby declare that I am willing to accept the position of sole astronaut and commander on the Wagner 1 mission to Europa, a private venture. I understand that any private space travel unsanctioned by the government is against the laws of the Outer Space Treaty, and as such, I am entitled to no protection or resources from any of the space agencies. I accept that this is a one-way trip and that the mission could result in my death should I fail. I am aware of all of the above facts and remain committed as ever to the mission and the privilege of colonizing Europa. I release Dr. Greta Wagner and the entirety of Wagner Enterprises from any future claim or liability therein. You know I have no one left, right? No one who would care enough to care if I even die. I try to joke over my speeding heartbeat. Greta doesn't crack a smile. There are always people on the periphery who come forward when they sense money to be gained. And once the world finds out where you are, the ISTC and NASA will try to spin it as me forcing you to do my bidding. This signed waiver and our witness, she nods at her assistant, will protect us both. I'm not sure how any of it protects me, but I don't bother asking. My attention is drawn back to the screen where the final 6 are unbuckling from their seats. Their first moments of weightlessness bring gasps and nervous laughter, and then they are floating as a group toward the airlock. But Naomi deviates from the rest, stopping at one of the windows to press her gloves against the glass and look down at Earth. The ache spreads from my chest, the pain of something breaking. At the airlock door, Dev Khanna turns the handle and the hatch swings open. The frame freezes, and after a torturous moment of static, the live stream shifts to the crew quarters. The final 6's new home from now to Europa. When the 6 reappear on screen, they've changed out of their space flight suits and into matching silver Mission Europa jackets over polo shirts bearing their country space agency logo. Only 2 share the same logo, Naomi and Beckett Wolf. I watch Beckett brush against Naomi's shoulder as they float through the module, and it's like a punch in my stomach. I turn away and grab a pen off the conference table. I don't need to read another word of this contract. I'm signing. But Greta places a hand on my arm just before I scrawl my name. I need to know that you understand what it is you are signing up for. Something in her expression gives me pause. What do you mean? Why would I change my mind? Because a solo mission to space is one of the greatest challenges a human being can endure. You will experience many moments of profound loneliness and fear. Are you ready for that? I would be all alone on Earth too, I remind her, with my family gone and now Naomi. What difference does it make whether I'm alone down here or up there? There is one key difference, she says. By sending you to space without government approval, you'll be committing a crime. Both of us will. In the long run, after you help the final 6 survive, as I know we can, you'll be seen as a hero. But in the short term, the people who you leave behind on Earth will view you and me both as reckless criminals. Maybe even saboteurs. She hesitates. You might not find such a welcoming reception from the final 6 when you first arrive either. The thought stops me cold, traveling all that way through space, only to find that she never wanted me there in the first place. So I'm going to stop there. There's, let's see, 2 and a half more pages of the first chapter, but that kind of gives us a good gist that it picks up right where the first part of the story left off in the last book, which I figured out I have read. I read so many books. I probably read 2 to 3 books a week. I'd read more if I could. But I think it it looks promising. I like the way this writer narrates her story in the first person. Anyway, that's first chapter, The Life Below by Alexandra Monir, and I look forward to reading your comments. Have a good one, and until the next book, take care.